Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ala e-Ashor. I am Ranjini, and as promised, I am back with part two of Soumitra Celebration of Excellence. I hope you all enjoyed watching part one, where our guest reintroduced with the man, Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee, down to earth, simple living, and with an extraordinary creative thinking. Our celebration continues. So let us move to part two, where we will reinvent this creative genius once again. Namaskar and welcome to this unique presentation of Alapi Ashur.
Thank you so much for having me.
Worked with him in one of the films which is Bridge, and it has won so many awards. So my first question would be, do you remember the day, the first interaction you had with Mr. Chatterjee?
Absolutely. It's unforgettable for me because, unfortunately, I could not meet him prior to the shoot, and I had not met him ever. And the first day of shooting, we were supposed to report at 4 a.m. on the bridge. So I'm on the bridge, and it's 4 a.m. We are briefly introduced. He was, of course, extremely warm and welcoming, considering he had no idea who I was, and he was just so encouraging even then, to give this girl a chance who he had no idea would even deliver such a difficult film. And then we went on to do the first shot, and everybody was waiting to know what he had to say because, I mean, it really mattered to everybody what Soumitra thought, and I I remember Amit came and told me in Bengali. He came back as soon as this shot happened. Soumitra walked up to Amit and Paramita and said Darun, and then he said another line that I've forgotten, but he said it in Bengali and he said, "This girl is really good. I feel her." And they came running to me and they said, my God, Sandhya, he said this and it's a big deal because he genuinely walked up to us and said, "This girl is very good. I really like her." And good. So, for me, it was such a special thing. I was so overwhelmed by this. And then there was no looking back. I mean, people often ask me, you don't really know Bengali. How did you, and though I'm not speaking in the film, how did you understand what he was saying? And I was like, that man never needed a language to communicate or express anything. I felt everything. I just had to look into his eyes and connect to the energies that he gave, and that was it. That was all I required from him.
Coming back to your work, like you are in the industry for now more than 25 years. You work with so many veteran actors and all. What was unique about Mr. Chatterjee?
That he was a human being first. The thing about him is he was so big and he never let you feel it. He never, there was no stardom that he carried. There was just a really wonderful human being first before anything else. I mean, so often he made you forget what a legend he was.
Thank you so much for your reflection, Sandhya. It's amazing to hear from you your experience. Do you remember any particular day of shoot or any memorable incident during the shoot?
Too many, too many. I was sitting outside and Soumitra hadn't arrived yet, and then suddenly I see him come, and he's practically bouncing towards me with the newspaper. Opened the Calcutta Times, the front page, and there was a photograph of me kissing another girl. It was a shot from a film. It became very controversial, and that was the front page photograph. Soumitra Das saw that in the car, and he just came running to me and he said, "Oh, so you can do this also?" It was we were laughing so much, and I was so embarrassed about it. And he said, he was just extremely playful the whole day. He was teasing me about this, Tanma is also doing other things, and so it was fun. He had a childlike mischief in him. That so like in the evening he would wait for the snacks to come like a child, where's the jhalmuri, where's, like, he would wait, for the snacks to come, and then we would go settle down with the snacks and have a conversation. And he never let that childlikeness leave. I mean, it was just really contagious and wonderful.
What have you learned from him? Like anything would you like to mention?
Too many things, too many things. To above all, that the only thing that matters first is the human you are. And if you're going to be an actor of that caliber, you have to be connected to yourself in an extremely human, compassionate, sensitive manner. You know, he showed me, he spoke about his fears, he spoke about his emotions, his vulnerability, his fragility. Soumitra Da hid nothing. He encouraged you to be so human. And nobody can teach you that. Nobody at his level will show you that. And I just felt like I was meant to be in this film because he came to me at a time where I was uh, doubting myself. Because I've always been extremely transparent. I've always been extremely vulnerable. I've always connected to that. And that is how I perform. And, I've never had a skill. I've never had training. I just try and connect to the human being in the emotions, within me to the best of my ability. And he reinforced to me that that was all that mattered. You know, it's okay to be anything, to feel anything. Just be honest. That's all. And that's what you do. I see you as an actor, and I'm getting to know you as a human being, and I see complete honesty. And you will do very well, and I bless you.
And
You know.
that's amazing. You are bringing the man, Mr. Chatterjee, and you are sharing his values. It's amazing to hear from you and spending, just during the shoot, and you absorb so many things from Mr. Chatterjee. He's our pride, our legend. At this moment, if you have the opportunity to tell him something, what would you like to say?
Oh, I would have thanked him. I would have thanked him because this film for me was so cathartic, and there couldn't have been a better person to heal with than Soumitra Da. And I thank him, and he knows, that I'm grateful to him. And you say that I talk about the man because that was bigger than anything for me. The human being that he was and what he left me with. I just want to thank him. I want to thank him so much for telling me I'm okay and I am, because there's nobody else I would have believed more at that point. Nobody.
Thank you for bringing this life skill lesson, and I'm sure this is something is actually it's for all of us. It is okay to feel like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
we
I've always had this image of, and then he read about me. The wonderful thing about him was that he got very intrigued by me, and he would read about me, and he would come and say, "Arey, Shonda, I read this about you. Arey, they say she was tough. This woman, this girl, that girl. They have not seen your vulnerability. They don't understand you. They don't know you. They have not. They haven't even got to the core of you yet. You know, and you just come. You come to Kolkata. You work with me. And you know he also emphasized so much on the human being that I was. He really appreciated me as an actor, and he told me that. But above all, he appreciated me as a human being. And for me, it's the only thing that matters to me because acting is what I do. The human being is who I am. And I've always known the difference. And when a legend like that teaches you the same lesson and reinforces those same beliefs, and when you're sitting on the fence and not sure, and you're tied down with images, and you're trying. All my life I've been a rebel and tried to break down the images of me, and I felt I was doing, did that film, and I felt that I had always done the right thing, and I was meant to be here, and I was meant to be with this man, to know that I'm okay, I'm fine. What I'm doing is fine. I don't need to play a game to be successful. You know, and success lies in who I am.
Right. We are almost at the end of our conversation, Sandhya. I just ask you one last question in this presentation. If I request you to describe him just in one word, what would you like to say?
Magnanimous and magnificent. Absolutely. That's what Shmita is. I mean, there are no limits to that man. There was nothing he could not be or do. Or he read out his poetry to me, and I think he set me off on writing. Over the years, I started writing so much. You know, he was. They don't make them like him. They stopped long
I
ago.
I think on his 86th birthday, we are having this unique presentation. We are celebrating his life, his contribution, and this is the best way. I really can't thank you enough, Sandhya, for expressing yourself and your journey with Mr. Chatterjee. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
I thank you for considering me to be a part of this. It is such an honor to be able to be allowed into this world of Soumitra Chatterjee, and to be, in the little time that I spent with him, to be able to share about him. Thank you so much for having me. Really, I'm very grateful for that.
Thank
হ্যাঁ, ওনার সাথে আমার আলাপ 96 সালে যখন টিকটিকি নাটকটা মঞ্চস্থ হয়, তখন আমার বাবা কাজগুলো করেছিল, মঞ্চের কাজটা করেছিল, কিন্তু বাবা তো সবসময় আসতো না। সেই জন্যে আমার উপর পুরোটাই দায়িত্ব ছিল যে টিকটিকি সেটটা ঠিকভাবে লাগানো হচ্ছে কি, ঠিক মতো প্লেসমেন্ট ঠিকঠাক হচ্ছে কি না, সেটাই আর কি। সেই সময় আস্তে আস্তে ঘনিষ্ঠতা তৈরি হয়েছিল সৌমিত্রবাবুর সাথে 1996-এ। সত্যি কথা বলতে গেলে ভয় ওনাকে কোনোদিনই আমরা পাইনি, কিন্তু যেটা করে এসছি আজীবন, মানে যতদিন ওনার সাথে আলাপ, শ্রদ্ধা, ভালোবাসা, যতটুকু যা পাওয়া গেছে ওনার থেকে, উনি আমাদের প্রচণ্ড ভালোবেসেছেন। হ্যাঁ, আমরাও প্রচণ্ড শ্রদ্ধা করেছি। যখন যেটা চেয়েছেন সেটা আমরা দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করেছি। হ্যাঁ, এটাই ভয় আমরা কোনোদিন ওনাকে পাইনি, কিন্তু মরণ, মানে যতদিন উনি বেঁচে ছিলেন আমরা ভালোবেসে গেছি, উনিও আমাদের সেইভাবেই ভালোবেসেছেন। সবচেয়ে বেশি মিস করছি কি বলুন তো, ওই সকালের ফোন, সকালবেলা 8টা 8:30টার সময় ফোন, কি ব্যস্ত বিকেলবেলায়? যদি বলি না ব্যস্ত না, তাহলে চলে এসো একটু আড্ডা মারি। চলে গেলাম, নতুন নাটক এটা হয়তো লিখেছেন বা একটা কবিতা লিখেছেন, সেটা শোনাবেন। এটা বড্ড বেশি মিস করছি। আর তারপরে হচ্ছে তো থিয়েটার, যে থিয়েটারগুলো উনি করতেন, আর তো উনি করতে পারবেন না, উনি আর নেই আমাদের এখানে, সেটাও খুব বেশি মিস করছি। আর ওনাকে ছাড়াই থিয়েটারটা করতে হচ্ছে। জিজ্ঞেস করার থাকলে একটা কথাই বলতাম, কবে নাটকটা মঞ্চস্থ হবে, চলুন রিহার্সালটা শুরু করি। আপনি আপনার ডায়েরি থেকে ডেটগুলো বলুন, সেই অনুযায়ী হল বুক করি। এটাই জিজ্ঞেস করতাম, কি চাইবো ওনাকে, যে বড্ড বেশি তাড়াতাড়ি আপনি চলে গেলেন, আরও যদি কিছুদিন থাকতে পারতেন অনেক কিছু শিখতে পারতাম, জানতে পারতাম। এটাই বলার। অতি মূল্যবান সম্পদ যেটা একটাই শিখেছি, সেটা হচ্ছে পাঞ্চুয়ালিটি, সময় জ্ঞান। যে সময় যাকে দেওয়া হবে সেই সময় যেন ঠিক সময় পৌঁছানো চাই, এটাই ওনার থেকে সবচেয়ে বড় শেখা। আর থিয়েটারকে ভালোবাসতে হবে, এটাই আমার শেখা ওনার থেকে। উনি এরকম কোনো যদি জায়গায় যেতে পারতেন, উনি প্রথমেই করতেন, প্রচুর কবিতা লিখে ফেলতেন, প্রচুর ছবি এঁকে ফেলতেন, আর নিজের মনে গান গাইতেন। গুনগুন করে গান গাইতেন। এটাই উনি করতেন, যদি যে কোনো ফাঁকা জায়গায় যদি উনি থাকতেন, আর আমাকে সেই কবিতাগুলো শোনাতেন, কেমন হয়েছে জিজ্ঞেস করতেন, আর তারপরে ছবি এঁকেও দেখাতেন। বড্ড তাড়াতাড়ি উনি চলে গেলেন, এটা একেবারেই আমরা আশা করতে পারিনি। কিন্তু আমার জায়গা থেকে বলি, আমি আবার দ্বিতীয়বার পিতৃহারা হলাম, এইটুকুই বলতে পারি। কিন্তু উনি যেখানেই থাকুন, যদি ভালো থাকুন, আর যদি জন্মান্তর বলে কিছু যদি থাকে, আমি বলবো আবার আপনার সাথে দেখা হবে, আবার একসাথে কাজ করব।
Thank you, Mr. Mitra, to be part of this celebration of life and contribution of Mr. Chatterjee. We are really proud to have you in this online unique event, and we would love to hear from you about his your interaction with Mr. Chatterjee and how you see him and his contribution in your field of work. So I'd like to hear from you.
Well, thank you for providing me with this opportunity. The thing is that I was definitely quite in admiration of Mr. Chatterjee's work, Soumitra work. But it was only that after I joined this profession, and much after that, I actually had a chance to meet him. Firstly, I didn't meet him, I saw him. It was in the same project that we were working, so he came in for a dubbing session. So I was there just as a professional, and he was also there as a professional. That was a kind of a fleeting glance that I had of him. But the real first meeting happened was that it was around, say, 13 years back, 2007, yes. One of my uncles is a painter, and he wanted to have his exhibition of painting in Kolkata. So he wanted somebody, not only a celebrity, but also a kind of an intellectual to inaugurate his painting. So his request to me was that if Soumitra could do it. So I said that what if Soumitra doesn't? He said that no, but you have to see to it that Soumitra does. So the onus fell on me to kind of talk to Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee and kind of convince him if at all that was needed. So when I approached him through a director friend of mine, the first thing that struck me was, it never struck me I was speaking to a legend like that. I was in awe, definitely. But he made me so comfortable from the first word. And he just listened to me, and he said that what do I have to do? I said that, well, it's my uncle who's a well-known painter. He's a restorer cum painter, and he wants his exhibition after so many years to be inaugurated by you. He said that, okay, that's fine, but then I need to know about him. So I was ready with all those things. So I gave him kind of brochures and stuff, which had a bit of introduction of my uncle. So he took it and he said, okay, so he'll be there. He flipped through the pages and he said, yes, it's interesting. I'll be there. Tell your uncle that somebody should come and collect me, and I'll be there at the venue at such and such time. And that was it. And the best part was that I wasn't there to kind of attend the thing. I had some other work to do. In fact, I was out of the city. But what I heard from my uncle, that from the moment he came, the way he made everybody feel at ease with him, and the kind of small little lecture kind of a thing that he gave, made everybody feel that Soumitra Chatterjee knew my uncle since ages. Because the way he kind of, flipped through the brochure and kind of got to know my uncle, and the way he produced them, even my uncle thought that, how could he know so much about him? So that was his great kind of, I would say, caliber to make people at ease around him, and never to trust upon his own kind of legendary aura that he had. So that was a big thing, big quality. And everybody was so pleased about him. But one thing I must say, the first fleeting glance of him which I had during my professional days, it was absolutely stunning for me because he came in for a bit of a dubbing. What he did was astounding. Normally, I mean, whenever I attended, I kind of be there on the dubbing schedules. I see the actors in their normal way, though they kind of hear the dialogues once or twice, and they kind of, as the dialogues come, they look at the picture and say it. And that's what I was used to. But he did a strange thing. He wanted the script. And according to what he said, he marked out the script and marked out the pauses. And wherever there were changes, he kind of wrote it in his hand. And then I was wondering, is he going to remember all that? Then he did a strange thing. I mean, he said that, let me listen to it twice. He just listened to the piece of dialogue, whatever it was that, twice. And he said, okay, go for a take. And it was a long bit of dialogue. As he was speaking, I looked at him. He was in the dubbing booth and I was outside in the at the control panel level. I saw that he was not looking at the screen. He was looking at the script. And he was going by the markings that were there. And everything fell in place, absolute dead sync. Post dubbing, I did not have to resync at all. And I was mesmerized. I really felt I was seeing a ghost. Because you don't see your lip movement just by your markings. You can go on dubbing and absolutely in sync. It was absolutely a stunning experience for me, and I was flabbergasted. I really was gobsmacked. I did not know, I mean, how to react to it. He just casually did whatever was there for him and just said thank you, and he went away. So I asked my director that, is this the normal way he does it? Well, yeah, he always does like that. He never looks at the screen. So that left a great, fantastic impression in those impressionable years that I had.
Thank you, Mr. Mitra, for taking us to the moment. And it's amazing. I think this is for us to learn, how to be dedicated with your work and how to do the bit of homework before you go and get something and achieve something. And that's why I think he is Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee and we are celebrating his life today. So it's great. When we are talking about dubbing and obviously it comes editing, I am really like to ask you this question where it is like you have edited so many movies of Mr. Chatterjee. So which one, if I ask you to pick the most favorite one, is it would be very difficult?
It is very difficult because the kind of movies that I normally work on are not the regular run-of-the-mill movies. They are a little on a different platform. And the kind of movies he acted in, amongst the movies that I worked on, the movies themselves are special to me. Like Ashok, like Borun Babur Bondhu, then you also have Monojder Adbhut Badi, and few others. I just don't recollect all of them
And
like
the
that.
one we are actually keen to, watch it. It's Bridge, directed by
Yes,
Mr.
I worked on definitely. And I find him to be very different in each of the characters. And he never looked like he was Soumitra Chatterjee in any of the characters. He always kind of played the part of the character so well. He was the character. Like in Ashok, what he did was, and he kind of says it in few of his interviews, that he had to change his manner of walking because the way he walked, the director said that no, this is not the walk of my character. You have to change it. You have to be something else. So he changed it. And he said that that was one of those rare moments where he had to kind of change his walk, which he had mastered over the years, which he had kind of practiced over the years on how to walk, so that he could do it with great ease and carry it off throughout the film. Borun Babu Bondhu, Bridge, in all these ones, uh, it's very difficult. And actually, luckily for me, I did not have to cut out too many scenes of him. I mean, whatever he performed in various scenes were kind of kept. A bridge may be a little bit we snipped here and there, but not in the entirety of a scene. Maybe a part of the scene or something because it was going a little too long or something like that, but never because of Soumitra or because of anything else that we did cut the scene. It's not because of that whether it was not so well performed or etc. No, he was always perfect. Well, his last work with me, I mean, the film that I worked on was Borun Babu Bondhu, and there I found that he was kind of overshadowing himself. I mean, he was going beyond himself because the previous performance, which really overawed me, was in Atanu Ghosh's film, where he and Prashanjit Chatterjee performed. So, as father and son, that kind of a thing.
Mayurakshi.
Yes. So I felt that Soumitra was fantastic out there. But in Borun Babu Bondhu, I felt that if he was fantastic of another kind in this particular film. And I was there on the first day of the show, I mean, the premiere show, so to say, not the commercial release. It was in one of the festivals, Calcutta Film Festival, that it was premiered. And Onik was standing next to me. After the screening, I mean, when the lights came on, Soumitra Babu just looked at Onik and said, "What do you think? I have not done too bad, right?" So I felt he was joking. Then I figured out, no, he was asking seriously. Even Onik felt he was joking. Then Onik said that, "No, what are you saying that you have not done too bad? It's exceedingly well." He said, "Okay, now I'm happy because the director
So
is happy."
it's always that validation he used to look for from his
Yes,
director.
yes, and even during shoot, he would search for that validation from his co-actors. It was sheer humility that he always felt that the other actor, other performer, he or she should also be able to say whether that he has performed well or not well.
Do you remember the time when he actually told you after seeing your work in one of his movies, like a feedback he has given to you?
Well, I must say I'm pretty happy about it because the first time I met him personally on a very kind of, I mean, friendly level, that was at Amit and Parumita's place. And Amit introduced me as the editor. He said, that, "Yeah, yeah, I know you." I said that, "I'm sorry." He said that, "Yeah, you were the editor who edits most of the films, the good ones." I said, "Well, I don't know much about that, but well, yes, I'm absolutely aware of your work, and I also know that you have edited some of my work. How do you feel about them, my work?" I just didn't know how to react to it. I mean, obviously, it was such a question that stumped me. But well, I definitely said that I really appreciated his work, and uh, I was like, what do I say? That I was greatly inspired that I could handle, as an editor, I could handle material which had him as an actor. So, to which he said that, "No, no, no, because you are good, you are saying like this." So later on, I figured out that one day he also introduced me to somebody else. That, "Meet him, this gentleman, he is Arghyakamal Mitra. He edits most of the Kolkata's good films." So he had a certain different impression of me, which I found to be very interesting. And another thing which I found extremely interesting was that whenever we met socially, even in a crowd, he would be the first person to acknowledge my presence. Before I could say, "Soumitra, how are you?" or whatever, he would say that, "So, how are you? So, what are you working on right now? Did you meet this person? Did you meet Amit and Paramita?" So, he was always like that. So, I never felt that I was actually meeting Soumitra Chatterjee, and I was always in awe of him because of the legend that he was. But he immediately put me at ease.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for bringing the person Soumitra Chatterjee, because we obviously, people like me, we have seen him on screen. We did not get the opportunity to have the interaction. But these are the memories, the interaction, the conversation, which is actually, we can see the man, the person, Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee. That's wonderful. What exactly? Because it's been now almost 2 months, and there is kind of emptiness. Uh, what do you like miss the most of Mr. Chatterjee at the moment?
What I'm missing because of his passing is that a certain amount of nobility in character of any person. With him around, you could feel the nobility. There's a certain sense of nobility around him, which he always exuded when he was around. That I think I'll be missing, not only as an actor or a performer, but as a person. As a person, he was so unassuming. A lot of people might think that he's a star, he's a legend. Well, he was, but he was so unassuming to people around him, if he knew them, that it's impossible. I mean, I'm going to miss that. I'm definitely going to miss that.
I think we all are going to miss the inspiring character of Mr. Chatterjee always, and there is always the learning opportunities from his movies, from his work, from his painting, everything. And that is why today we all are here to celebrate his life. We are
Yeah.
almost at the end of the conversation with you, Mr. Mitra, but I would definitely like to ask you one word to describe Soumitra Babu.
Well, I would say he is an auraless, genteel personality.
Thank you. Thank you for enriching our show, and Ala e-Ashor is absolutely honored to have your contribution.
I'm also thrilled to be here. Sad it's getting over, but definitely we'll meet again.
Surely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good year. Namaskar.
নমস্কার, আমি মোহাম্মদ আলী, বাংলা চলচ্চিত্র জগতের একজন মেকআপ আর্টিস্ট। দাদার সঙ্গে আমার যখন দেখা, সেই সময়টা ছিল 1987 সাল। দাদা রঙ্গমহল থিয়েটারে নতুন নাটক নামাবেন। নাটকটার নাম নীলকণ্ঠ। প্রথম দিন খুব আনন্দ পেয়েছিলাম, কিন্তু পরবর্তীকালে যখন ওনার সঙ্গে সামনাসামনি কথা বলছিলাম, প্রচণ্ড ভয় হয়েছিল, হাত পা যেন ঠান্ডা হয়ে আসছিল। কিন্তু যখন পরবর্তীকালে কাজ করতে শুরু করলাম, উনি এত ভালোভাবে ছবি এঁকে বুঝিয়ে দিতেন এবং এত কিছু জানতেন, যার কোনো অসুবিধাই হলো না। দীর্ঘদিন পাশে থাকার সুবাদে আমার ব্যক্তিগতভাবে যেটা মনে হয়েছিল, উনি থিয়েটারটাকেই বেশি পছন্দ করতেন। তার মানে এই নয় যে ফিল্ম পছন্দ করতেন না, ভালো ডিরেক্টরের কাজ ওনার পছন্দের ছিল। তাই বলতেন মৃত্যুর আগে পর্যন্ত যেন অভিনয়টা করে যেতে পারে, বেঁচে থাকাকালীন যেন অভিনয়হীন জীবন দেখতে না হয়। এক কথায় মাস্টার মশাই, অভিভাবক। যে লোকটির সঙ্গে কথা বললে কার না মনটা ভালো হয়ে যায়, সেই লোকটাকে আর কোনোদিন দেখতেও পারবো না, আর ছুতেও পারবো না। আয়নার মুখটা আগিয়ে দিয়ে বলবে না, ছাড়িগঙ্গা কিংবা রাজা লিয়ারের রাজার মেকআপটা করে দাও। জানতে চাইবে না কাল শুটিংয়ে কখন আসবে। সুন্দর করে জিজ্ঞাসা করবে না বাড়ির সকলে ভালো আছে তো। প্রতি মুহূর্তে তাই লোকটাকে মিস করি। দীর্ঘদিন কাজ করার সুবাদে আমি যেটা দেখেছি, উনি অসম্ভব ভালো ছবি আঁকতে পারতেন। কোনো চরিত্র নিয়ে কথা হলে সেটার প্রথমে স্কেচ তৈরি করতেন, আমাকে সামনে বসিয়ে তার সম্বন্ধে বোঝাতেন, তার কেমন দাড়ি হবে, চুল হবে, পোশাক কীরকম পরবে। তাই এরকম একজন উচ্চ শিখরে প্রতিষ্ঠিত মানুষের কাছ থেকে আস্তে আস্তে অনেক কিছু অজানা জিনিস জানতে ও শিখতে লাগলাম, এবং ওনার জীবনের শেষ দিন পর্যন্ত থাকতে পেরে নিজেকে ধন্য মনে করি। অসাধারণ ব্যক্তিত্ব, অসাধারণ ব্যক্তিত্ব।
So I met Soumitra Chatterjee the first time on the 10th of June 1996 at 10 o'clock at the Furlong Hotel in Calcutta. 4 years before that meeting, I lived in New York City, and I was a special student at Columbia University. And in May of 92, Satyajit Ray passed away, and one of my professors asked me to organize a brown bag lecture about Ray. I chose to do it about Home and Abroad, The Home and the World, the novel by Tagore, and the film by Ray. And of course, one of the lead characters was Soumitra Chatterjee. Friends in New York at MoMA helped me to screen many films of Ray. At that time, I watched films. I didn't see VHS or DVDs. Then, of course, I would fly back to Paris. And as you know, Ray was very popular in France. So I was able to see so many films of Ray. And at that time, I thought it's interesting that actor who is in so many films of Ray. I should make a film about him. And I said so without ever thinking I would meet him one day. So a few years later, in 95, a close friend of mine was traveling in India and faxed me Soumitra Chatterjee's phone number. I didn't do anything before 96, so 1 year later, I called Calcutta, and when I spoke to Miss Soumitra Chatterjee, I said, "Mr. Chatterjee, my name is Catherine Berge, my name is Catherine. I would like to make a film about you." "A film about me? Can you come to Calcutta?" I said, "Sure." And a few days later, a friend of mine in Paris, press agent for Warner Brothers, an American lady, talked about my desire of making a film about Soumitra Chatterjee, and that was Ismail Merchant. And Ismail said, "Oh, your friends should call me and meet me, and we'll talk about it." So I had already spoken to Soumitra Chatterjee for a second time. And the second time, as he was so busy, he said, "Oh, I have 3 days in June of '96." And so he told me, "Okay, Monday," I think it was a Monday, Monday the 10th at 10 o'clock. I said, "Fine." Then a few days later, I met Ismail Merchant in Paris, and he said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to make a film about that actor." And he said, Ismail asked me, "Have you contacted him?" I said, "Yes, I'm supposed to fly to Calcutta soon." And Ismail called his nephew and niece who were at the office and said she wants to make a film about Soumitra Chatterjee. We'll do it. And I had not asked anything. So that's a very unique a unique story. And I said, "Okay, you want to produce, but can you help me with the plane ticket and the hotel, the fare loan?" And he said, yes, sure." The contract was very funny because he asked me not to spend more than, I forgot the number of rupees, but I had told a friend, "I'm sure I will have a contract in rupees," and it, in a way, it was what happened. So anyway, here we are. British Airways. I flew with British Airways, which had been on strike for many weeks, I suppose. Then it was Paris, London, Delhi, Calcutta, and already in the plane from Delhi, Calcutta, there were nuns from Mother Teresa's order. And then I contemplated the landscape through the window when we reached Calcutta, and I smiled so much. I was so happy to be in Calcutta. So the following morning, I was ready, and at 10 o'clock, Soumitra Chatterjee came to the fair lawn. And I remember a journalist from Jerry Pinto, I think, from Bombay, said that it was the opposite story of Purple Rose of Cairo by Woody Allen. That means in the Woody Allen's film, the character gets out of the screen. And in my case, it was the character, all the characters, maybe Opu and all the others, were coming to me at 10 o'clock on the 10th of June of '96. So moving. After so many years, I totally remember how he came with his satchel, because he always had a satchel with his copybooks, his poetry, his sketches. And then I was able to talk with him, to chat with him for 3 days. And that's how the whole thing started. And he, he, of, he of course, called Mrs. Ray for me, Bijoya Ray, that I visited, and Robbie Ghosh, and Madhabi Mukherjee, and Aparna Sen. I think Madhabi Mukherjee was so also moving, because I went to meet her with a translator, because she was not really easy with the English language. And to meet Charulata was like meeting Madame Bovary, the Gustave Flaubert. I still cry when I think about it. And Soumitra Chatterjee was immediately my friend. It was friendship at first sight. How can we say that? It's really true. That means, all the characters, as I said, Opu, of course, and I don't know the name, but from Distant Thunder, from Charulata, from Devi, from Days and Night in the Forest, from all race films, and all in one person, one human being, who is coming to me to talk, to chat with me about Bengal and Bengali culture, Bengali theater, Bengali acting in theater, Bengali acting in films. It's a unique experience. I mean, experience in life, and you might have in your lifetime one or two experiences like that. But it's, for a French woman or French human being to have such a connection, being so far away, so many hours of plane, of traveling, and to find a soulmate. Ah, show me through, my friend. Well, it was always enjoyable to work with him, with Soumitra Chatterjee. In my case, I had to travel for so long. It might be Air India or Air France or Jet Airways, or I don't know any which airline. So it's a long trip, and it's a very tiring trip to reach Calcutta, because there's no direct plane from Paris to Kolkata. Kolkata. So it was reaching Calcutta was always a very big emotional event. I had to prepare myself during these long hours of flying. And I remember, for example, in 2016, it was February of 2016, and I was going to attend a wedding of my friend Chinmoy Guho's daughter's, which was going to take place in February of 2016. But a young student came to pick me up at the airport, and Amitavu Nag had told me, you should go to that theater when you have time to reach the theater. It's a very old movie theater in Calcutta at the moment. The Bashu Theater, I think is the name. And actually, I thought, oh, it's too tiring. But then when I reached Calcutta, Calcutta was always giving me energy, even after all these hours of flying. So I asked the young student, can we go to the Bashu Theater? And then we reached the theater. There was a tribute to a retrospective of some of his films, of some of Soumitra Chatterjee's films. And there were a few people that I knew, Amit Bishwas, Paramita Banerjee. Oh, I met them. No, I had met them already. And others. And Soumitra was on stage, and I saw that he was looking for me in the audience. So Amitavu might have told him, Catherine is coming. And then when he was able to come, we had a big hug. And I had not been to Calcutta for 4 years, which was terrible lack in my life, in my day-to-day life, because I need now in the Bengali culture. I need I live with that in a way. With my friends in Paris who are from Bengali origin. I go to the celebrations, New Year or Durga Puja. Anyway, so when I met Soumitra Chatterjee that time, and there were most of his films which were shown, not most because he had made so many, but a few of them, and it comes back immediately. That means when you don't see someone for so long, for so many months or so many years, and then you all of a sudden you forget about the plane, or you forget about the years, and everything comes back to you. That means, in a way, I just spoke how when the day I met Soumitra Chatterjee in June of '96, and that meeting was 2016, so that means 20 years later, and everything comes back. That means it's a mixture of the films, the theater that I attended in Calcutta, and of course the film I made Gach, and it was such a good atmosphere while making the films, and Shamitu himself, whatever he does. I mean, when he writes poetry and everything he does, I deeply appreciate. And that year, yeah, that was that year that he was playing Rajalir. And as you may know, when I made that film Gach in 97, I ended the film by King Lear. And Sandhya Chatterjee at that time had never dared to approach Shakespeare. And of course, at that time, it was not possible to ask him to play Hamlet. So that was the end. I had a scene with Shamitu and Robbie Gosh. And then, so I was so impatient to see, maybe I mixed the year. It was not 2016. Rajali was 2012. So, sorry. 2012, I came back to Calcutta. I had not been to India. I had not been to India since 99, maybe. So 2012, that's when I went for the wedding and also to attend the performances of Rajalir, because of the reason I explained earlier. I had chosen, in my case, to end the film I made in 96 Gach by Shakespeare, that Shamitu, King Lear, had never dared to approach. And when you say enjoyable, satisfying factor, I think Shamitu had made himself the translation of Rajalir, the play in 2012. And I remember I was just going. I went 3 times, I think, and there was a younger Spanish friend, and when Shamitu would appear on stage, we would pinch each other with Jorge, because it was like watching the Beatles on stage or something. We were so nervous and we were biting our hats. So I don't know, we were so thrilled to see him performing Rajalia. And also at that time, I had asked Shamitu for a project that I had about Rabindranath Tagore, for a short film. And Rabindranath Tagore traveling from Paris to Reims with a French philanthropist banker. And I wanted to try to film a short scene. And it was a poem by Tagore, translated. I think the lines were translated by Shamitu. And I filmed him at the same time in February of 2016. I think it was at the Tagore's house. I think Chinmoy Guho, my friend, let us film there. And so, of course, again, to see Shamitu, working on the translation and playing, and it's admirable. And later on, in 2016, when I met Shamitu at the Bashu Theater, and I talked about that earlier. So the following day, I think, I visited him to a theater. I have to remember the names of the theater, but to a theater where his daughter Polomi had staged a short play by Tagore, and there was Polomi's daughter Mekola dancing, and I joined Shamitu, the green room, and immediately he started talking to me about his projects, his plays, and that's why I love the most. I think the moments that I shared with him in the green room while during the makeup, I mean, and with Shamitu talking about all these plays and all these adaptations, that's the thing I cherish the most in most of everything I've lived with Shamitu, and that means on stage or during while making Gach. The moments, the most private moments, are in the green room. I really very intimate and very precious time shared. That was, I think now, it was in the Uttam Kumar Theatre, a small theatre. I think not too far from the Bashu Theatre, maybe. Oui, j'habite à Paris, so of course I have missed Shamitu so many times, being in Paris and him being in Kolkata. But the fact that at the celebrations, as I said, of Durga Puja or Bengali New Year, I would meet my friends from Paris who had met or seen Shamitu on stage, and I always had news from Shamitu, and but I have been used in a way to his absence, and my memory and my heart, of course, work. So, as I said earlier, again, what I'm going to miss the most, to be in the green room with Shamitu, talking about his new projects or his different plays. That's what I miss all the time. But I have been used to create that gap, that absence, and I imagine it. So it's part of my imagination and my heart, of course. So, what was the hardest? Doesn't exist. That question, I understand the meaning, but it does not exist. It was always pleasurable, everything. Even at Gulf Green, or while sharing a light lunch or anything. So, voilà. So, Sandhya Chatterjee is a commandeur dans l'ordre des arts et des lettres, 99, and was awarded la Légion d'honneur in Calcutta in January of 2018. Yes, he has a unique contribution to the world, Shamitu. No other actor, actress has, as I said earlier, has been able, to write plays, direct a company, direct actors, make all these films, sketch. Is obviously, as we say, a Renaissance man. His contribution is unique to the world. There is no one like him being able to do all these things. Shamita Chatterjee has been, and I am privileged, is Amar Bondour, আমার বন্ধু।
What an incredible journey of this creative genius. How he nurtured human to human relationship. Keep watching Soumitra, Celebration of Excellence. I'll be back with part 3. Please share, like, and comment. Share this celebration. Invite to join this celebration.